Hey, there, name's Julia. I'm 35, work as a school teacher, and I'm married to Mark. He's a big shot manager at some corporate firm, rakes in a good amount of cash. We've been hitched for about 5 years now. Mark's got a son from his previous marriage, kid's name is John, he's 12. Let me paint you a picture of our lives. I'm as normal as they come, got a steady job, a home, a man I love, and a kid who isn't mine but I've come to love him like my own. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Mark and I have been trying to have a kid of our own. Month after month, the same routine. The hope, the anticipation, and then the crushing disappointment. The worst part of it all? Mark points the finger at me. One evening, Mark comes home, his face is like a thundercloud. He throws his briefcase on the couch, loosens his tie, and pours himself a stiff drink. I'm in the kitchen, trying to cook dinner, trying to ignore the tension that's thick in the air. He takes a sip of his drink, then turns to me, his eyes hard. Julia, he says, his voice cold, I have a kid. I didn't have any issues with Linda. It's you who can't. His voice trails off, but the message is loud and clear. I'm the problem. His folks, they're no better. They echo his sentiments. I still remember a family dinner at their place. Mark's mom, a stern woman with a sharp tongue, looks at me across the table and says, Linda gave us a grandson. We thought you'd give us a grandchild too, Julia. But it seems we were wrong. The room goes quiet, and I feel like I've been slapped. I can't say anything, can't do anything. I just sit there, my face hot, my heart pounding. Then there's Linda, Mark's ex, the mother of John. She's like a specter that haunts our lives. She's a barmaid, always dressed to kill, always the life of the party. I've met her many times. She's got a way about her, a way that draws people in. She knows how to talk, how to charm. She's got Mark's folks eating out of her hand. I remember one time she came over to pick up John. Mark's mom was there, and they greeted each other like long-lost friends. I watched from the doorway, feeling like a stranger in my own home. Julia, we were just looking at old photos. You should join us. Linda's voice, sugary sweet, cuts through the silence of the room. She's sitting on our couch, flipping through our family album with Mark's mother. I stand in the doorway, my heart pounding in my chest. I feel like an intruder in my own home. I plaster a smile on my face and walk over to them. The photos are a stark reminder of a past I was never part of. Mark and Linda, young and in love. John, a chubby baby in Linda's arms. Linda and Mark's mom, laughing over something, looking like best friends. It's like a punch to the gut. John was such a cute baby, Linda coos, pointing at a photo. I force a laugh, nodding in agreement. I feel Mark's mom's eyes on me, scrutinizing, judging. The room is filled with an uncomfortable silence. I excuse myself, mumbling something about checking on dinner. Mark, meanwhile, is a ghost in our lives. He's always at work, always at the golf club, always on his computer. He's there, but he's not really there, you know? He pays his alimony to Linda, buys John the latest gadgets, tries to be the cool dad. But when it comes to me, to us, he's always too tired, always too busy. One night, he comes home late from the club, the smell of alcohol heavy on his breath. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, a report card in my hand. Mark, I say, trying to keep my voice steady, we need to talk about John's grades. He grunts, his eyes still closed. Not now, Julia, he mumbles, I'm tired. But Mark, I insist, his grades are slipping. We need to. Julia, he snaps, his voice harsh. I said not now. He turns over, his back to me, and that's the end of our conversation. Later that week, I'm at the grocery store, picking up some stuff for dinner. I bump into Linda in the frozen food aisle. She's got a cart full of junk food, probably for John. He's always been a picky eater, always preferred junk over home-cooked meals. I try to keep my distance, but she spots me. Julia, she calls out, a smirk on her face. shopping for dinner? I nod, forcing a smile. Just the usual stuff, I reply, keeping my voice casual. She laughs, a high-pitched, annoying sound. You know, John loves my spaghetti. You should try making it sometime. Her words are like a slap in the face. But I keep my cool, nodding and mumbling something about trying it out. I rush home, my mind a whirl of thoughts. I'm left to pick up the pieces. I'm left to play mom to John, to help him with his homework, to attend parent-teacher meetings, to deal with his mood swings. I'm left to clean up Mark's mess, to play the dutiful wife, to put on a happy face when all I want to do is scream. I'm sitting at my desk, scrolling through my phone when a message pops up. It's from my friend, Jenna. There's a photo attached. I open it, and my heart stops. It's Mark, my Mark, with his arm around Linda. They're in a bar, laughing, looking cozy. I can't breathe, can't think. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. I wait for Mark to come home, the photo burning a hole in my pocket. He walks in, tired, a little drunk. I take a deep breath, steeling myself. Mark, I say, my voice steady, we need to talk. He grunts, dropping his keys on the table. What is it, Julia? He asks, his voice tired. I hold up the photo, my hand shaking. He looks at it, his face blank. Then he laughs, a loud, harsh sound. So what? He asks, his voice cold. Linda and I are friends. We have a kid together. His words hit me like a slap in the face. Friends, I repeat, my voice a whisper. He nods, his face hard. Yeah, Julia, friends. We have a kid together. We have a history together. What's your problem? I feel tears prick at my eyes, but I blink them back. I won't let him see me cry. My problem, I say, my voice rising, is that you're my husband, Mark. You're supposed to care about me, about us. He scoffs, rolling his eyes. Oh, Julia, he says, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Always the drama queen. I'm bored, Julia. Bored with this, with us. Linda, she's fun. She's exciting. She understands me. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. I can't breathe, can't think, but I won't let him see me break. I won't give him the satisfaction. Fine, I say, my voice cold. If that's how you feel, then maybe we should end this. He looks at me, his face blank. Then he shrugs, a casual, cruel gesture. Maybe we should, he says, his voice cold. He walks away, leaving me standing there, the photo still clutched in my hand. The next day, I decide to confront Linda. I find her at the bar, serving drinks, laughing with the customers. She looks up as I walk in, her smile fading. Julia, she says, her voice cautious. What brings you here? I slam the photo on the bar, my heart pounding in my chest. What's this, Linda? I ask, my voice steady. She looks at the photo, then at me. She shrugs, a smirk on her face. Mark and I are friends, Julia, she says, her voice casual. We have a kid together. I feel a surge of anger, of betrayal. But I keep my cool, keep my voice steady. He's my husband, Linda, I say, my voice cold, and I won't let you ruin my marriage. She laughs, a harsh, cruel sound. Oh, Julia, she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm, your marriage was ruined the moment you walked into it. Mark's always been mine. He always will be. I feel a surge of anger, of determination. I won't let her win, won't let her destroy my life. We'll see about that, Linda, I say, my voice cold. We'll see about that. I turn and walk away, leaving her standing there, the photo still on the bar. I've got a fight in me, and I'm not going down without a fight. It's a quiet afternoon and I'm sitting with John, Mark's son, at our kitchen table. We've got his school books spread out between us, and I'm helping him with his math homework. John and I have always had a good relationship. He's a good kid, smart and kind. He's nothing like his mother, thank God. Julia, he says, his voice quiet, why does 2x plus 3 equal 5? I explain the equation to him, simplifying it so he understands. He nods, scribbling down the answer in his notebook. We work in silence for a while, the only sound the scratch of his pencil and the occasional sigh of frustration. Then, out of the blue, he says, "Dad and Mom meet a lot, you know?" I freeze, my heart pounding in my chest. I force a smile, pretending not to be affected. "Oh?" I ask, my voice casual. "That's nice." He nods, oblivious to the turmoil inside me. "Yeah," he says, "they meet at the park, at the mall. They talk a lot. They laugh a lot." His words are like a punch in the gut. But I can't let him see my pain. I can't let him know how much his words hurt. "John," I say, my voice steady, "your dad and I, we're good, okay? We're happy. Your mom, she's just a part of his past." He looks at me, his eyes wide. "Okay," he says, his voice small, "okay, Julia." Just then, the doorbell rings. It's Linda, here to pick up John. I stand, my heart pounding in my chest. John runs to the door, excited to see his mom. I follow him, my mind racing. I have to confront her, have to tell her to stay away from Mark. "Hey, John," Linda says, her voice sweet. "Ready to go?" John nods, running to get his bag. Linda turns to me, her eyes cold. "Julia," she says, her voice icy, "we need to talk." I nod, my heart pounding in my chest. "Yes," I say, my voice steady, "we do." We step outside, away from John. I take a deep breath, steeling myself. "Linda," I say, my voice cold, "you need to stay away from Mark." She laughs, a harsh, cruel sound. "Why?" she asks, her voice mocking. "Because he's your husband? Because you love him?" I feel a surge of anger, of frustration. But I keep my cool, keep my voice steady. "Yes," I say, my voice cold, "because he's my husband. Because I love him." She smirks, her eyes cold. "Oh, Julia," she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're so naive." Her words hit me like a slap in the face. But I won't let her see me break. I won't give her the satisfaction. "I'll fight for him, Linda," I say, my voice cold, "I won't let you take him away from me." She laughs, a harsh, cruel sound. "Oh, Julia," she says, her voice mocking, "you don't stand a chance. I have John. He's my trump card." Her words are like a punch in the gut. I can't breathe, can't think. But I won't let her see me break. I won't give her the satisfaction. "We'll see about that, Linda," I say, my voice cold. "We'll see about that." She leaves, taking John with her. I'm left standing there, my heart pounding in my chest. But I won't let her win. I won't let her take Mark away from me. The days roll on, and I find myself in the park with John again. The sun is shining, casting long shadows on the ground. Kids are laughing, playing. It's a normal day, just like any other. But inside, I'm a whirl of thoughts and emotions. John and I have a routine. We walk around the park, chat about school, friends, video games. He's a good kid, easy to talk to. I've grown fond of him. He's not my son, but I care about him. And that's why the revelation I'm about to stumble upon will hit me so hard. We get back from the park, and it's time for homework. John's got a biology assignment, something about genetics and blood types. I help him out, explaining the basics. Type O, type A, type B, type AB, positive, negative, and so on. It's a bit complicated, but John's a quick learner. The assignment is a simple one. If a mother and a father both have type A blood, what blood type would their child most likely have? The answer is, of course, type A. John gets it right, and I give him a thumbs up. Then, he looks at me with a puzzled expression. "But, Julia," he says, "I have type B blood." I freeze. My heart pounds in my chest. "That's impossible." Unless Mark isn't John's father. I stare at John, my mind racing. But I can't let him see my shock. I can't let him know what I'm thinking. Oh, I say, forcing a casual tone. That's interesting. Who told you that? My doctor, he replies, at my last checkup. I nod, trying to keep my face neutral. Well, sometimes these things can be confusing. Let's just focus on the homework for now, okay? He nods, and we go back to the assignment. But my mind is elsewhere. I'm thinking about Mark, about Linda, about the truth. I'm thinking about how I'm going to deal with this. A few hours later, Linda comes to pick up John. I watch as they drive away, my heart heavy in my chest. I'm not sure what to do, how to handle this. But I know I can't ignore it. I can't pretend like nothing's wrong. John, bless his heart, tells Linda about the genetics problem we solved. He's smiling, excited about his new knowledge. But Linda, she goes pale. She looks at me, her eyes wide. I pretend not to notice. I pretend like everything's fine. But it's not. I've discovered a secret, a truth that could change everything. And I'm not sure what to do with it. But one thing's for sure. I'm not going to let Linda win. I'm not going to let her take Mark away from me. I'm not sure what the future holds. I'm not sure what this revelation means for me, for Mark, for John. But I'll face it head on. I'll fight for what's right. I'll fight for the truth. It was just another day. I was in the kitchen, cooking up some breakfast. Mark was sitting at the table, reading the newspaper. John was upstairs, getting ready for school. It was just like any other day. But inside, I was a mess. Julia, where's the butter? Mark asked, not looking up from his newspaper. In the fridge, where it always is, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. He grunted and got up to get it himself. I watched him, my heart pounding in my chest. I couldn't help but wonder if he knew, if he suspected anything. John came down the stairs, his hair still wet from the shower. He grabbed a piece of toast and started to eat. John, sit down and eat properly, I said, trying to sound stern. He just shrugged and kept eating. He was always like that, always in a hurry. I watched him, my mind racing. I couldn't help but wonder if he knew, if he suspected anything. After breakfast, Mark left for work and John left for school. I was alone in the house, just me and my thoughts. I went up to John's bathroom, my heart pounding in my chest. I stared at his hairbrush, my hand shaking. I reached out and pulled out a few strands of hair. I put them in a small plastic bag, then did the same with Mark's hairbrush. I sent the hairs off for a DNA test. It was a long shot, but I had to know. I had to know if Mark was John's father. The waiting was the hardest part. Every day, I checked the mail, my heart pounding in my chest. Every day, I was disappointed. But I didn't give up. I couldn't. Not now. Finally, the results arrived. I stared at the envelope, my heart pounding in my chest. This was it. This was the moment of truth. I ripped open the envelope, my hands shaking. I pulled out the paper, my eyes scanning the words. And then, I saw it. The results. The truth. I won't tell you what it says. Not yet. That's a story for another day. But I will tell you this. The truth changed everything. It was a bombshell, a revelation. It turned my world upside down. That day started off pretty ordinary. Mark came home early, and he wasn't alone. Linda was with him, and so were his parents. They had that look, you know the one. The look that says, we're here, and we're taking over. I was sitting on the couch, holding on to the DNA test results. Mark cleared his throat. Julia, he started, I want a divorce. I didn't react. I didn't need to. I knew this was coming. I had been preparing for this. So, I just sat there, staring at him. Linda had this nasty grin on her face. Guess you're not so special after all, huh? She said. Just a gray mouse. Mark's parents were nodding, looking pleased. They never liked me. They thought I was beneath their son. But I didn't care. I didn't care what they thought of me. Not anymore. I stood up, my hands shaking. I walked over to Mark, the DNA test results still in my hands. You want a divorce? I asked. Fine. But first, you might want to take a look at this. I handed him the DNA test results. He took them, looking confused. He read them, his eyes getting wider with every word. This can't be right, he stammered. John's not my son? I nodded. That's right, I said, John's not your son. Linda looked shocked. She grabbed the test results, her hands shaking. She read them, her face going pale. No. She whispered, no, this can't be true. I didn't cheat on you, Mark. I swear. But Mark wasn't having it. You're lying, he yelled, you did this, Julia. You did this to get rid of them. His parents chimed in, siding with Linda. Linda wouldn't cheat. This is your doing, Julia. I shrugged. Fine. I said. Let's do another test then. Let's see if these results hold up. All eyes turned to Linda. She was pale, shaking. No, she said, no more tests. I smirked. Why not, Linda? If you're so sure John is Mark's, what's the harm in another test? Linda broke down, tears streaming down her face. Okay. I cheated. John isn't Mark's. Mark was furious. You lied to me, he said, his voice cold. You lied to me for years. I want all my money back. Every single penny. His parents looked shocked. They tried to argue, tried to deny it. But it was no use. The truth was out. And nothing they could say or do would change that. I watched them, feeling a sense of satisfaction. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. I felt powerful. I'd done it. I'd finally left the big mansion, the shimmering chandeliers, the empty glamour, and the web of lies. I'd traded it all for a small, homely apartment in a quiet part of town. It was a far cry from the opulence I was used to, but it was real. It was mine. I'd filled it with second-hand furniture, a few potted plants, and a lot of hope. I continued to teach at the local school, and those kids, they were my lifeline. They kept me grounded, kept me real. Mark, my ex-husband, was another story. He'd finally severed ties with Linda, his ex-wife. He'd come to see her true colors, but it was too late. He had washed his hands off John, Linda's son. Poor kid, he wasn't even Mark's own, but he had been caught in the crossfire. But as much as I tried to forget, the past had a way of sneaking up on me. I missed John. Not Mark, never Mark. But John, that kid had wormed his way into my heart. I loved him like he was my own. And it hurt like hell knowing that I wasn't going to see him grow up. Out of the blue, Linda called. You've ruined my life, she accused, her voice shrill and hysterical. You've ruined John's life. I was taken aback, but I didn't let her get to me. Look who's talking, Linda, I retorted. You're the one who brewed this storm. You can't blame anyone else for the rain. She hung up on me. Good riddance. Mark was suing Linda, trying to get back all the money he'd spent on John. His parents were backing him up, of course. They were always on his side. The whole thing was a mess, a dirty, ugly mess. I wanted no part of it. I had my own life to live, my own battles to fight. I was done with them, done with their lies and their games. But I couldn't help but think about John. I hoped he was okay. I hoped he knew that I still cared about him, that I still loved him. I hoped that one day, he would understand why I did what I did. For now, though, I had to keep moving forward. I had to make a life for myself, a life that was mine and mine alone. I was Julia, and this was my story. I was no one's victim, no one's fool. I was a survivor.